The Zephyrian fleet emerged from hyperspace like a dark constellation, their bioships pulsing with bioluminescent patterns that had once been the pride of Earth's oceans. Admiral Kethvar gazed through the organic viewport at the blue marble, below his compound eyes reflecting centuries of bitter exile. "At last," he whispered, his voice carrying the weight of 3 generations. "We have returned to reclaim what was stolen from us." The bridge crew, descendants of Earth's original inhabitants who had fled during humanity's rise, murmured in agreement. Their ancestors had been the planet's first sapient species, evolved in the deep trenches where thermal vents birthed consciousness, millions of years before mammals walked on land. They had built cities beneath the waves, developed technology that merged seamlessly with biology, and lived in harmony with their world, until the humans arrived. "Sir," reported Navigator Thysera, her tentacles dancing over living controls. "Long-range sensors detect primitive settlements across the land masses. The usurpers still cling to the surface." Kethvar's mandibles clicked in what passed for a smile among his kind. 3,000 years we've waited. 3,000 years we've grown strong among the stars while they remained bound to dirt and stone. Today, we reclaim our birthright." The fleet descended through Earth's atmosphere, their approach as silent as the deep currents they once called home. Kethvar expected resistance, crude missiles, perhaps primitive energy weapons. Instead, they were met with something far more unsettling, a single transmission on an old frequency. "Welcome home." The voice was human, speaking in perfect Zephyrian dialect. Kethvar's blood chilled. How could they know the old tongue? "This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Terran Defense Coalition," the voice continued. "We've been expecting you." On the main screen, a human appeared, elderly, with silver hair and eyes, that held depths Kethvar recognized from his own people's ancient texts. Behind her stood others. Humans, yes, but also forms that made his heart skip. Zephyrians, his own people working alongside their supposed enemies. "Impossible," he breathed. "Admiral Kethvar," the human called Chen said, somehow knowing his name. "I'm afraid there's much you don't understand about what happened here. We'd like to invite you to the Global Council chambers. There are some people who've been waiting a very long time to see you." Despite every instinct screaming warnings, Kethvar found himself accepting. 2 hours later, he stood in a vast chamber beneath what humans called the Pacific Ocean, built in the ancient Zephyrian style, with flowing walls that pulsed with gentle light. Around a circular table sat beings from across the galaxy, his own people, humans, and species he didn't recognize. At the head sat an ancient Zephyrian, whose bioluminescent patterns marked her as one of the original exile survivors. Grandmother Nithala. Kethvar's voice cracked. She had been presumed dead for 2 millennia. The ancient being's eyes sparkled with warmth. "Hello, child. Sit, learn." What followed shattered everything Kethvar believed about history. The Zephyrians hadn't fled Earth. They had chosen to leave. When humanity began to show signs of sapience, the planet's original inhabitants faced a choice: compete for dominance or share their world. Most chose to explore the stars, but some remained, hidden in the deepest trenches, watching. "We learned something remarkable about humans," Nithala explained, her voice like distant tides. "They don't just adapt to their environment. They adapt their environment to include others. When they discovered us millennia after we'd supposedly vanished, they didn't try to conquer or exile us. They asked us to teach them." Admiral Chen leaned forward. "Your people showed us how to live with our planet, instead of just on it, how to build with biology, instead of against it, how to think in centuries instead of decades. But the wars," Kethvar protested. "The legends speak of violence, of our people being driven from the seas." "There were conflicts," Nithala acknowledged. "But not with humans as a whole. Small groups, yes, driven by fear or greed. But humanity as a species? They made a choice that still amazes me." She gestured to the chamber around them. "They gave us back the oceans. Freely. Completely. They moved their cities inland, cleaned the waters we had abandoned, and asked us to come home." A human scientist, her gills marking her as one of the modified volunteers who helped bridge the two species, spoke up. We learned that Earth wasn't humanity's world, with Zephyrians living in it. It was everyone's world together. The planet is richer for having both of us. Kethavar's worldview crumbled and rebuilt itself in moments. But our cousins among the stars, they speak of human aggression, of their endless wars. Humans fight, Chen admitted, but never as a species. Their conflicts are always between ideologies, nations, or beliefs, never between humanity and others. When they encounter new life, their first instinct isn't conquest. It's curiosity. An alien being with crystalline features, something called a resonant from the Andromeda spiral, chimed in with musical tones. This is why the Galactic Council recognizes Terra as neutral ground. Humans may fight each other, but they don't fight with entire species. They integrate them. Nithala stood, her ancient form still graceful. Come, grandson. Let me show you what we've built together. The tour that followed was a revelation. Cities that floated on the waves, their living architecture a fusion of human engineering and Zephyrian biotechnology. Farms that cleaned the oceans while feeding billions. Spaceports where dozens of alien species worked alongside humans and Zephyrians, all calling Earth home. This is why we don't fight with humans, Nithala said as they watched human children playing with young Zephyrians in kelp forests that stretched to the surface. Not because we can't, but because there's no need. They make room. They always make room. Kethavar watched a human teacher helping a Zephyrian student understand stellar navigation, while a Zephyrian engineer showed human apprentices how to grow living ships. His fleet had come to reclaim a world, only to discover they'd never lost it. The invitation still stands, Chen said quietly, appearing beside him. Earth is big enough for everyone who wants to call it home. Always has been, as Kethavar looked up through the crystal-clear waters to see stars beginning to appear in the darkening sky. Stars his people had fled to, only to learn that home had been waiting for them all along. He understood why the galaxy spoke of humanity not with fear, but with puzzled respect. They were the species that somehow made everyone else more than they were before. And that, he realized, was the most terrifying and wonderful power in the universe.